Let's say you want to make a sliding door, yet it's a little bit more complicated than the typical sliding door that could be made in Unreal. It's not just a single panel that slides off to the side or two panels that slide open. Let's say you need to do what I call kind of like it's like the borderland between a character mesh and a stagnant object. You have sometimes semi-movable objects that they have many working components. I found it a little bit difficult to do that solely in Unreal. There's many tutorials on Unreal how to do sliding doors that are wonderful, and they work great, I found, for a stagnant mesh that just slides to the side or opens up, and they look great, and the techniques are really awesome. And this is for, as I said, sometimes you'll have an animation where there's moving components that will crisscross, so you can't just they're not two stagnant meshes. This mesh is a little bit more dynamic. I'll show you a little bit what I'm talking about here with this door I did. So it slides open like so. Now on this door I went ahead and did the collision that you will need for Unreal within Blender. I found that that is easiest because I was having some trouble getting a collision box in Unreal to have a good parent-child relationship with my animation that I imported into Unreal. So I found it's just easier for me, personal preference, and I think it might be easier for you too, especially if you're a Blender artist, mostly a designer, not necessarily a programmer, and you want to kind of create, more functionality right out of the gate for game testing. Also, I'd like to note that this is vertex painted, not UV mapped. As you can see, it's simple geometry. There's really no need for me to do a UV map. But if you have a project where this door is, made out of really gnarly looking wood, or it's got a lot of physical based materials, then yeah, by all means, you'll do a UV map. Yet, on a personal note, I think that I like to test out different materials in Unreal, and I like to make different channels to test those. So if I make each one of these objects that I made in Blender have its own material, then when I take it into Unreal, I'll just show you instead of speaking about it. When I take it into Unreal, I can quickly change the look of it by selecting it, and then I have my channels. So if I wanted to quickly say, well, what would this look like if it was white? So I'll just do a basic wall. I can quickly change different kind of macro, for lack of a better word, parts of the object that I pre-planned that I thought would be important to pop. Might as well show you the door in Unreal now. So this is a blueprint, so then I'll also show you how to take this door into Unreal, how to import it as a basic mesh, and then set it up so that it has functionality for the game that you're working on. We'll go ahead and play, and I'll show you somewhat of the end product. It's actually still work in progress yet, isn't it always? So here's the door, and character approaches, slides, you can go through, and then it closes behind. So basic sliding door. So hopping back into Blender, that is why with the different UV channels, I like to just do vertex painting. Yeah, that's for this particular project. Another one might have a more complicated UV maps that you need to use. That's why you do need to unwrap all of your UVs, even if you're not going to really use that very much, because later it will save you a lot of pain if you do want to put on some really cool UVs, and everything will be unwrapped. And there'll also be notes about rigging this. Like I said, sometimes you'll get objects that are kind of in the borderlands between a full-on rigged character and a static object. So if it has moving components like this, and you want to create kind of more interesting, more dynamic looking animation objects in your game, then this might be a good solution for you. I found that so far it's a good solution for me, and I want to share it. So with that, I'll go ahead and make a new door in Blender. I'll try and explain everything, and here we go.